Hi guys, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Sania. I am your senior support specialist here to take you through the client dispute manager software. So we're going to jump right into our training for today. Today we're going to talk about billing, and I do hope you have some questions where that is concerned, or whatever questions you might have, we're going to cover those as well, right? So of course, I want you to tell me how you're doing today. Hi, Rakesh. Thank you so much for being here today. Awesome. I see Bobby, Marcus, Donna, Katrina. Hi, guys. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm not sure who that is, but welcome. I hope you are having a good day so far. So yes, let me know in the chat how you're doing, or if you want to go ahead and unmute and let me know how you are doing. And I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen while you are doing that. Okay, so yes, good, awesome, good, perfect, awesome. Yeah, so let me get my highlighter and we're going to jump right into today's training. Thank you so much. Today is a great day. Yes, it is, Donna. Yes, it is. All right. Awesome. Okay, perfect. Glad to hear that, guys. Awesome. So of course, when we come into our software, this is going to be the first thing that we see. This is our home/dashboard screen here. We have our customers overview, our dispute process overview, and the business growth statistics. It's important that you make sure that you check all of your customers, what their status is, the dispute process, the business growth. I also want you to make sure that you check that as well. Aside from that, remember that you have your updates that you want to check on. Whenever we have something to tell you, you want to go ahead and check that out. So this is just a side note. Smart Credit did some changes. So right now you will have to do manual imports. We are working on getting the quick import up, but all of the other imports that you're going to do for Identity IQ and Privacy Guard, that's totally fine. But you should be able to do your imports. Oh no, oh no, no, no. Katrina, no. Are you okay? Okay, yes, the summit was awesome. All right, make sure you're just resting, okay? Because that is important. All right, okay, please be careful. Okay, no problem. Awesome, glad to hear that. Yeah, so definitely look out for any updates that we have to let you know about something in the system, or if there's any news that we want to share with you, don't forget to check that. Also, it's going to come into your email or on the Facebook group, so make sure that you're checking all of that. So today, of course, billing, it is important. You know that in order to run your businesses successfully, you need to have a way to collect your money. There's no way you can have a business and you don't have a sustainable way of how to collect your money. You're not tracking the money. You're not tracking what's going out. You need to make sure that you have some type of system in place to help you when it comes to your processing, right? So of course, I want you to make sure that if you have not, that you look at different ways of how to collect your payments. If you have, let's say you want to automate your process, remember what we talked about before, so you can go ahead and set that up, right? Remember, inside of the software, you have the option to do internal check, and you also have the option to do authorize.net, that's card payment. So you could definitely look at that. And then some people, of course, they do it externally. So they'll have ACH option, or they have other options that they're using. I want you to make sure that you're keeping a track of that, because that is important. All right. All right, perfect. Yes. So yes, understood. Yes, I want you to make sure that you'll get used to it, okay? You'll get used to using your left hand for now. All right, perfect. Yeah, so I'm just talking to Katrina in the chat. Bear with us, guys. All right, perfect. Just to make sure that all of you are all doing well. We are a family, so we want to make sure that everything is well on your side as well. So of course, we'll do check-ins from then on just to make sure that you're all good. So of course, in our chat or in our meetings, I'll just talk with you back and forth. That's totally fine. All right, perfect. Yes, so for those of you who are gonna do checks, remember that it is important for you to decide, okay, is it gonna be an ACH check that I'm gonna do, or is it a case that I'm gonna do internal checks from the software, or I'm just gonna do regular invoices. I'm gonna add my shopping cart to the invoices, or I'm gonna take card payments or cash, of course. So remember that you have that option as well. I just need you to make sure that you're organized where this is concerned, because it's important that you have a way to collect your money. You can't start your business if you don't have a way. It doesn't make any sense to start your business if you don't have a way to collect your money, right? Unless you're going to drive hours to go ahead and meet up with someone. Of course, we don't want to do that, to meet up and then take the payment. I suggest that you look into this option, because this part is also critical, along with the disputing and the marketing part. All right, so it's important that you have a way to collect your money. If you have your own office space, your brick and mortar space, that's totally fine. Let's say they're going to come in, you have your machine, go ahead and swipe the card, that's totally fine. Or if they're going to give you checks, their own checks, that's totally fine. But I need you to make sure that you have means of collecting your payments from your customers, right? Once you have thought about your pricing module, then you can go from there to select what options you're going to use to take your payments. I also want to implore you to have more than one ways of how to collect your payment, because we don't want to get stuck with just having one means of taking the payment, just in case something comes up, something happens, and you have to rely on another method. At least you would have had another option in place, right? So if you're going to do card, have a backup where you can do checks, or if you're going to use something else, definitely go ahead and have that so that you won't miss a payment. And then what I realized is that even though we set up the automations, we're not setting up the reminders, right? Even if you have your automation set up and we are confident that we're going to get those notification, I still want to implore you, still create your reminders. Go on your calendar, set up your to-do list, right? So that you can go ahead and just say, okay, today this person's paying. Okay, I checked it, everything is fine, we're good, right? I want you to get into the habit of making sure that you are checking, because we don't want to miss any payment, and then probably a month or two might have passed and then you realize that a payment might have failed. It's kind of hard to catch up with that person, right? So please be on the lookout for that. Set up your reminders. Let them also get an email to know that, okay, in a few days' time, you're going to charge them for the services that you're about to render to them. All right. So it's important that you do that. Let me just pause right here. Do I have any questions when it comes to billing? Are you having any concerns about getting your banks? What questions do you have where that is concerned? We're all good where setting up is concerned, right? We have other methods in place to take the payments. All right. Right, so I see someone is just using checks for now. Yes, if you're just starting out, that's totally fine for you to use the checks. I want you eventually, because of course, remember, most persons tend to have card. So if you can get another option in place, that would be fine, right? Remember that you need a business account. I don't want you to have your personal account where your business funds are going into. I want you to make sure that you separate that as well. That is important, right? Just for tax purposes, and of course, you're being organized where that is concerned. You have them in separate places, and we're not dipping into the personal where we know that we have business funds also in, right? We should be able to differentiate that. So it's important that you do that, okay? All right, perfect. So let's say you have decided, okay, I'm just starting out, so I'm gonna go ahead to do internal checks from the system, right? You have collected your payment information from your customers. You have collected their checkings detail, and you have said, okay, on the 15th of every month, or probably on the 25th, whenever you've set your date for, really, you are going to charge this customer. You're going to go ahead and print out a check using the VersaCheck paper. So of course, the only thing that you'd have to think about is getting the VersaCheck paper, of course, your printer and your ink, and then you should be good. You just put your VersaCheck paper into your printer, and then based off of that information that they have provided for you, then of course, you want to go ahead and put that in. I did put in the suggestion for the date and the address. So we're looking into that. So keep your eyes and your ears peeled for that. I will let you know a little bit more on that, okay? All right, so for now, once you have your VersaCheck paper, put it in the printer, and then you should be good when it comes to printing out your checks. Remember that you have the VersaCheck 1000. The 1000 is just one check on that paper, right? So what that means is if you have one customer for the day and you put this VersaCheck paper in the printer, it's only one check that's going to be printed out, not three, right? So let's say I have 6 clients. It would be ideal if I have the VersaCheck 3000, because I just need 2 VersaCheck paper to print out those 6 clients on the 2 papers, right? Because 1, 2, 3 customers are going to be listed on that particular checks, right? And if you can, be organized or set dates that you're going to print out your checks, so you don't have to do it on a random date. You have it on a particular date that you're going to print out your checks. Of course, we know that they might be coming in on different times, but if you at least set 2 different times within the month, then you should be good enough to go ahead and print out the checks on that particular date that you set. All right, so go in, look at your VersaCheck paper option. Let's say this is a good option. They have their checkings detail. All you have to do is to make sure that you have turned on the feature in your company settings section. You want to make sure that your name is there, and underneath the notification section that you have the check enabling option turned on. And then you're going to go into your client's portal and you're going to turn on the check authorization form. So that is important for you to do. Go ahead and turn it on, whether it's going to go in the client auto sign up where all of the information, they'll go through it, or if it's a case that they're gonna basically, you're gonna send them the email and it's just a single form for them to put in the banking details, then that's what they'll go through, right? So you can decide if it's just going to be the one email that you're sending out for the checkings information that you want to collect. Remember, their routing number and their banking details would be collected in this form. They are going to go ahead to sign to give you authorization to take that payment. So this is a good option for you to have when it comes to taking your payments here in the software. All right, so that is going to be saved into your software. Just remember, don't turn off the notification, because if you turn it off, let's say you see this highlight, remember that this is what tells you that someone that you sent that single authorization check for, check form or the card form for, then that means they have signed. So you're going to get an email notification. You're going to see this light up at the top. So it's important that you go in and that you check it under the digital record section, right? The digital signature record section. So once you have sent out a check and they have paid, then of course, not paid, but they have filled out the necessary information, then it's going to show on your check form, right? Let me just find a check form. So this is what the form would look like. It's going to give you the checkings information for that client. The card is similar. Just the last 4 digits is going to show on the card. You don't want to have the full details, but that is going to be saved into your authorize.net backend for security purposes, right? Some of you are going to have employees, and I'm sure you might not want to have the employee, even if they have access to see if the client might have sent the information, you wouldn't want them to see the card information. So for your security purpose and your client security purpose as well, we have just hidden the rest of the digits, but the last four is what's going to show on the card, right, for the form. So it's important that you turn it on so that when you come into billing, you are going to come into your billing, invoicing, check section, and then you're going to click on the print check option. And from here, you're basically selecting your services that you have created. Make sure that you set up all of your services. If you have promos that you are doing, go ahead and set that up, because of course you might go back to it. If it's for the credit analysis, if it's for PPD, if it's for your monthlies, make sure that you have your services listed so that whenever you pull it up, that service that you're doing for that particular customer is going to be generated into this particular section. So let's say we have added our customers' information in, the due date is there. Let's say we add our notes, pay for May, and then I'm going to put it at $100, right? So let's say this is for the credit analysis. This is my one-time fee for my consultation that I've just set up for them. I'm going to go ahead and save this particular check for my customer. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead, put my VersaCheck paper in my printer. Once I put it in the printer, well, I'll use the 1,000 because I'm just printing out one check. Let's say it's three customers that I had listed here. Let me go ahead and do another one. No, I need to do two more just so I can show you what it looks like. So I need to remember who. And I'm going to put $100. And that's going to be saved. And I want to do another client. Let me see who I have. All right, so, and I'm putting another $100. All right, so I have my three clients that I'm about to charge now. What I want to do is I want to check those three options. And instead of doing a single print out, I want to do multiple checks. I have my VersaCheck 3000 on in my printer, and I am about to download it. So this is if you're printing out multiple checks at a time. Remember, if you have the option to do multiple, you do have the option to do multiple, but let's say you want to deliberately print out three clients to go on your VersaCheck paper. Let's say it's the 3000. What you want to do is you want to go ahead and add all of your customers in, select the option to the left-hand side, and then you click on your print multiple checks, right? This is going to line up perfectly with your VersaCheck paper. Make sure that you've gotten the correct information from the client so that whenever you go ahead, let's say you're going to use your, one second. Let's say you're going to use your phone to take the picture, or you're gonna go to the bank and deposit it. That is totally fine, right? So once you put that in your printer, all you have to do, see, 1, 2, 3 checks are perfectly lined up. I am about to print out my VersaCheck paper, and all three clients are gonna go ahead and pay me for the services that I have rendered, right? So this is a good option for you to look into so that you can go ahead and take your payment. You can take a picture of it once you go ahead and print it out, or if you want to go to your local bank to go ahead and deposit that, that is totally fine. So this is one option that you can use to take your payments. Of course, I'm thinking of, let's say I have customers who don't have a check-ins account, right? What else could I use? In that instance, let's say I do get authorized for any of these payment option, meaning those merchants providers, then obviously I can connect with authorize.net. Some of you might have banks that already are affiliated with authorize.net. So all you would have to do is to go to them and tell them, okay, you want to go ahead and get authorize.net approved, so that whenever you connect with authorize.net, you can set up your card option. So this is an option that you can look into if you're not going to use, or let's say you have customers that have card and they don't have a checkings account, then the authorize.net would have been an alternative, right? So either you can use or you can use both. That's up to you. I just want you to make sure that you have more than one option when it comes to taking your payments from your customers. So you just go ahead, if it's a check, go ahead and print it out for your customers. Their information would show, you can take a picture of it and deposit that. Or if you want to go into your local bank, that's totally fine. That's a method. Of course, you have the option of doing ACH. What persons would do is they'll create the invoices and add their links onto the invoices. So of course they would go into the company settings section here, or if they have a shopping cart, so they'll go here, company settings, and then they'll just hit edit settings underneath here. And then once they hit edit settings here, they'll go ahead and add that link there. So if you have a shopping cart, or if you have whatever option, a payment form that can be added where it's a URL link. So once they go ahead and click the pay button when they get the invoice in their emails, then automatically it's going to redirect them to that payment page that you have, right? So think about the different ways that you can take your payment. Remember that you're coming into a high risk business, so you need to make sure that whatever option that you're using, it's going to support you as a credit repair specialist, right? So make sure that you have looked into their disclosures, look into their fine prints, because most of the time when you look into the fine prints, it tells you that they don't support credit repair specialists or credit business. So of course, you need to make sure that you look into that. You want to cover your assets. Of course, we don't want to put it in our personal or business information. Should have all of the business detail there, because of course, again, let's say God forbid something happens and they try to sue you, a client tries to sue you, or whomever it is tries to sue you, you want to make sure that that is separate and apart from your personal assets, okay? So it's important that you go ahead and do that. So that is one option. You can use the links. You can do the checks. You also have the option to set up authorize.net. Some people, they do it externally, so they'll look into different options. They'll use QuickBooks, they'll use Venmo, they'll use Zelle. There are different options that you can use. I don't want you to use Stripe, although it's a good option other than using it for credit repair. And PayPal, it would have been ideal, because if you had a PayPal link, of course you could have added it here as an example. But because it's not supporting you as a credit repair business, do not use that option. Cash App, those options, I don't want you to use that, because I want you to make sure that you're securing yourself. They have their policies where that is concerned. So it's important that you go ahead and look at different options that you can integrate, or if you're going to do it externally, that you have an option to put your information in. All of your transaction, you can go in and check it without any hassle, right? Now, make sure, of course, for the checks that you've added, whether it's your company name that the person is going to be paying out to, or it's going to be paid out to, or if it's your personal name or a name that you have that you want it to be redirected to, that is the name that it's going to be paid out to. So this is my company name that's reflecting here. Of course, you would see that this is a name that I have reflecting here. So if I wanted it to be paid out to me, then of course I would put my name here, and then this is the name that's going to reflect on the checks, right? So make sure that the information is correct, their address, their all of that information, their routing number, their banking details, make sure all of that is correct. Now their signatures are not required. So you should be good when it comes to printing out your checks. I have gotten questions of, do I need a special paper or can I use a different paper other than the VersaCheck paper? This is the one that is recommended for you to use, right? So the VersaCheck paper is ideal. I know that VersaCheck has different checks, but ask for either the 3,000 or the 1,000, all right? So that is an option that you can ask for. That is totally fine. All right, yes, definitely. Yes, if you want the replays, guys, just go ahead and send me your email address and I will send you the replays later on, okay? Now, do I have any questions so far? If I have any questions, I'm gonna take them now. Any questions so far? Have you encountered any issues when it comes to taking payments? What options are you currently using when it comes to taking your payments? All right, no problem. Yes, definitely for that. All right, so checks, cash, okay. All right, so checks, cash, that is perfect. Remember that if you are taking cash payment, I still want you to go ahead and add it into your software, or if you're gonna add them in your Excel sheets or whatever it is that you're gonna add them in, you need to have a way to go back and look at the information. You need to be able to track that information that you have, right, for your billing. So any payments that you've gotten from your client, you definitely want to go ahead and get that information, right? So if it's cash or a check that a customer might have walked in and gave you, remember that you can come in here and you can add that information in underneath here. So all you have to do is to go ahead and put the amount if you need to change the amount. Let's say you want to put the description. It's a one-time fee. You can definitely go ahead and do so, so you are tracking that option, right? So please make sure that you have these information in there so that if it's cash payment that you're doing or if it's checks, that you have this information saved. If it's not in your software, then it should be saved somewhere else, right? Or you should have a backup saved somewhere just in case you need to go ahead and review the information that you have. Please make sure that you're doing that, right? Religiously, that you're religiously going in and checking your payments. Let them say you're crazy. Let them say you're crazy to check it every time. But I want you to make sure that you get into that habit of checking your money. Okay, so it's important to do that. So whether it is the checks, still someone walked in, go ahead and put the client's information in. You're doing the same thing for the cash. You're just putting in the checking number or the check number, and then you put the description and that's it, right? Once you have done that, let's say it is a single payment. Let's say you have authorize.net set up and you have recurring that you want to do, or you want to do a single payment. Once you have authorize.net set up, then of course you can go ahead and process your payments. Now, when it comes to authorize.net, it is a gateway. So this is basically pulling the information from the card over to your account that you have. More likely it's going to be your account, your merchant account that you've gotten, or your bank that you have. So they are just pulling the funds. They need somewhere to push it to, right? So that's what authorize.net is there for. They don't hold it. They basically need somewhere to push it to, right? So that's why you might need a merchant's account when you do get authorize.net. Don't just go directly to authorize.net, especially if you're new, because they'll tend to turn you down because they think you don't have a business as yet, right? So if you can get the merchant's provider, remember that the 3 that's here, of course, you have tons more. Just look at the option and see if they're affiliated with authorize.net. Once you have your authorize.net set up, what you want to do is to get your API and your transaction key. And then you come in here and then you add your payment processor and then you test the key to make sure that it's working, right? Now, some of you have authorize.net already. Now, let's say you have other business. What I want you to do, don't disable the transaction key, because if you do that, that is going to change from whatever platform you already have the keys on. The API is not going to change, but the key is going to change. So if you change it in your authorize.net account and forget to do it on whatever platform you've added that key on, when someone goes onto whatever platform that you have and they try to pay, you might not know that they went on and they tried to pay if they didn't say it, so you might miss it. So it's important that if you already have an authorize.net account, let's say the API is connected to your website backend and you have a form where they can pay online. Additionally, you have clients that you might have added into your software. Go ahead and look if you have the transaction key saved so that you can come in here and add it in there, or you can disable the key, get a new key, make sure you put it in the back end of whatever other platform that you have it on, and then you put it in the software, right? But you have to make sure that the key that you have on other platforms are the right keys, because if you've changed it, then you might miss any payments that might have been connected because the key is incorrect, right? So it's important that you do that. So this is just a bit of troubleshooting 101 that I'm telling you about. So make sure that you set that up. Once you go ahead and do that, I want you to make sure that you set up your products and your services. So whether it's a promo that you have, you're creating the product name first, attached to the service. So once you hit product here, you're going to go ahead to click on add new product, put the product name. The product name is basically the name of the service that you're offering to your customers. So you go ahead and create that name. Once you create the name, you're going to click on service. The service is connected to the product, right? So once you have figured out what name you're going to use, I like to go catchy with the names. So I create as much names as I possibly can think of, and that would match my services that I'm offering. Once I go ahead and add new service, I want to go ahead and put the price, the description, and the service and the product name that I have just created. So of course, think about the different prices, whatever plans you have offered, put it in there so that whenever you're about to process your payments and you go to billing payment section, then you can just pull up your client's information and add the processor. So I'll just come here, and if it's a single payment, I'm charging them right then and there. If it's a recurring, meaning I'm either doing it bi-weekly or on a monthly basis, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and select my my service. So let's say it's going to be a monthly. Then I want to go ahead and add that. So it's going to be once per month. Let's say I have a due date for every 25th, right? So bear this in mind. You set up the single payment first. So you're going to charge them right then and there. This could be for your audit. Once you do your audit, don't wait. Go into the billing section and go ahead and set up the recurring payments so that whenever you're about to charge your client for the monthly, whatever month in advance you set it up for, then that's what it's going to be pulled on the day that you've set it for. So if you have an end date, put your end date. If you don't have an end date, that is totally fine. Or let's say you know that this person is going to be with you for 6 months, you can go ahead and put 6 occurrences so that once you go ahead and hit proceed, every month on the 25th, or whichever day it falls on, authorize.net is going to go in because of the subscription that you have created, and it's going to go here, right? It's going to pull from there. So it's important that you go ahead and set that up if you have authorize.net for your payments, single and recurring payments. You want to set that up, okay? All right, perfect. So I have a question here. Yes, guys, yes, for the replays. Dwayne, what is a reasonable fee to pay per transaction for a startup business? It depends. It depends. I want you to make sure that you go ahead and check out what is affordable for you. And then also not just affordability that I want you to look on. I want you to look on the different features that you get, right? Because you could have, let's say you have authorize.net and you wanted to do, you wanted to set up payments on your different platforms, right? That might not be supported. If it is that you have a website, then of course authorize.net can be supported. But let's say you wanted to tweak your forms a little bit and you want it to be creative, right? Because of how authorize.net is, they have like a standard set that you wouldn't be able to change it if you wanted to like co-brand it in your own, right? So bear that in mind. So whatever option you're looking at, don't just look at the transaction, look at the features that you get with it. Let's say you wanted to send out invoices and receipts, or you wanted to add it on your different platforms. That's what I want you to also take into consideration when you're looking at an option to take the payments, all right? That is important. All right, Dwayne, go ahead and unmute for me real quick. All right, was that your question? I hope I answered your question. All right, I think.
Okay.
Yes, got you now. Yes.
Yeah,
All good?
so I think so, but I guess I'm just trying to see if I'm getting taken advantage of. They're charging me 3.95%, seems pretty high.
Ooh.
Plus 25 cents per transaction.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay.
That's
So
for
if you have,
authorize.net.
okay. So you looked at the different plans that you have, right? The different pricing points that they have, right?
Well, that's what they offered me.
Right. I want you to do a little research and see if there's anything else you can look into. Let me see. Do I have anybody else on the chat who has something else? I know there's charge B. It's not similar to authorize, that similar in the sense that they take payments, but of course one is a gateway, one is just a regular payment option, right? So you have to take that into consideration. If you can look at other options, I know persons, they'll use Chargified, they'll use e-commerce. Is it e-commerce? I'm trying to remember the name. It's slipping me right now, but you have different options that you can look into, right? So it depends on what you want. You have to look at that. Payment Cloud. The only thing with Payment Cloud is that it's not integrated in the software. That's the only difference. All right. But you can look into it. I want you to make sure that whatever option you're using, that you are comfortable with it, that your customers are getting the most out of it, and that you're not being overcharged where that is concerned, right? Because if you're not getting all of the functions or the features that they have listed, and let's say you don't have that amount of client, it doesn't make sense you're using that just yet, because you could always go back to it when you're ready. But I want you to look at your options, keep your options open, and look at the different options that you can use, okay? All right, perfect. Thank you so much for that, Bobby. How do you know which ones are integrated in the software? So only authorize.net right now is integrated, but I don't know if you can go into Payment Cloud and get a link. If you could get a URL link, then you can put it on your invoices that you're creating, or you could just use that as a standalone, because I know people, they'll use QuickBooks as a standalone, not do it in the software, right? So if you want to forego using it in the software, you can do so, right? You just need to make sure that you're tracking everything, okay? But for now, it's just authorize.net that is integrated. And then remember, I'm not sure if Zapier can integrate with Payment Cloud, but you can look to see if the integration is possible. All right. All right, awesome. Oh, okay. Yes, there is that integration as well. Yeah. Payment Cloud can be connected with authorize.net. So that's another thing. They do They do connect with each other, right? Sometimes they're enemies, but they do connect with each others. Okay, so bear that in mind. But it's cool. It's cool when it comes to setting up. You just want to make sure that whatever option that you're getting the most out of it, right? So look at the functions that you have. It's not just to take the payments. You need to be able to see if you have printing out receipts, being able to be print out or sent to the customer. Can you view your transaction? Can you set it up on your website? Can you do it on your different platforms? You need to be able to have different functions, all right? So I want you to look into that, and if it is affordable as well. All right, so definitely keep that in mind. Look, research when it comes to the payment option. You don't have to just settle with one. I want you to make sure that whatever you're using is going to be efficient in what you're trying to achieve, right? So that is important. All right, perfect. Yes. No, not necessarily, but people do set up with ChargeBee and authorize.net. If you're going to use ChargeBee, though, bear in mind that ChargeBee is not integrated in the software. You'd have to have authorize.net and then set up with ChargeBee if you're going to do it like that, right? But I know people, they'll use ChargeBee, they'll use Chargeify, they'll use other options. Just make sure whatever you're using, that it is in guideline with the credit repair industry, that it's affordable, that it's covering all of the functions that you want, right? Some people want the capability of sending out receipts, getting notification, retry, automatic retry, all of those stuff. So look at what you're getting with the options that you're using, okay? All right, perfect. Yes. All right, I hope that helped you with setting up. All right, perfect. Do I have any question? Let me just pause. I want to make sure that we're clear on that when it comes to taking the payments. It's important that we do that because we want to be able to collect our payments. We don't want to miss. The only time I want you to say, okay, I'm going to miss is if for some reason all three or all two of your payment method that you have in place didn't work, then you're going to try to get it within a few days time. Other than that, it's not going to be a case because you didn't have one in place that you're not able to collect the payment. So please make sure that you have a backup payment option to take the payments from your customers so that you can definitely collect those payments and you're not missing. If there is a payment that might have failed, even if you don't have it set up in the system, that you're getting a notification right then and there that you need to check on this ASAP, all right? Yes, so that is important. Yes, 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 definitely for the replays. Send me your email address and I will send you the replay, okay? All right, awesome, awesome. All right, do I have any more questions before I move on to the payment history section? Any more questions? All right, all good? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you have done your invoices. You are looking at what you have pending. It's important that you go ahead to check whatever pending payment that you have, that they are updated as paid, right? We don't want where we have missed a invoice or we've missed an invoice because the transaction probably it didn't go through or we forgot to check on an invoice and we did not check. We need to make sure that once we have checked that the payment went through, we want to come in either in the billing invoicing section or underneath the history section to update it as paid, right? Remember, we don't want to be looking at our dashboard as I'm going to look at mine now and I'm going to see a lot of past due invoices. That's too much money that is out that's not collected. So it's important that if you are tracking it in your software, that you have a way to track whatever is past due. Just same as if you are going into your authorize.net, your QuickBooks, into your ChargeBee, your Chargeify, whatever platform that you have. By the end of the day, you should be able to go in, or by the end of the week or the end of the month, you should be able to print out a transaction sheet to see what has been paid out, how much it is. So it's important that you go ahead and check in your backends for that. So inside of your software, you can go into your payment history, update the information so that that reflects in, and you could always check it. Now, the only thing that I can tell you is that most people prefer to automate their process. You would have to come in, you would have to remember. So that's why I always say, set up your billing reminders. If you have invoices that you have sent out, set a reminder to say that, okay, in a few days time, I need to go ahead and update it as paid. Now, I know it's going to sound like a lot of work, but you should be able to go ahead and update the information. If you're going to automate your process, remember that you have platforms that can do that. But if you're going to do it for now, let's say you're not there just yet, you should be diligent enough to go into your software and update it as paid. It's important that you do that, right? So you mark your check as paid so that that is going to be updated in your software, right? Once you have it updated as paid, remember it's going to reflect on your dashboard. This status is going to change, so you need to make sure that you're going in there to check all of your information that you have pending, right? So whether it's your check, of course, your single payment, that's going to be done automatically. So if it did go through, right then and there in the payment screen, it's going to tell you that it was done successfully. So of course, you wouldn't need to come in here and update it. But for the invoices or the checks, you need to come in here and you need to update it as paid. Now, similarly for your recurring billing reminders that you've set up in authorize.net, remember you set it up in the software, you should be able to come in here. If it has failed, you will see this here, and also you'll get an email notification and the alert at the top to tell you that your customer's payment has failed. Once you see that, go ahead and reach out to them. You can send them an email. I prefer doing a follow-up call just to check what had happened, why it failed. If you want to go into your authorize.net accounts to see what the note says, it could be that there's insufficient funds or the issuer declined. Go ahead and check it, and then you reach out to your customers so that you can go ahead and catch that payment. All right, so it's important that you're checking that. If you have your own billing team to do that, that's totally fine. Just make sure that you educate them where this is concerned. Now, sometimes we get a payment that might have failed. What we want to do is we want to come into our software here, and this little icon, we want to make sure that we have canceled the failed subscription. So let's say 2-3 days has passed. Of course, it's going to do its automatic retry if you have it set up, but still, for some reason, the payment failed. You probably can't get the client. Go ahead and cancel the subscription. When you do get the client, what I want you to remember to do is to go ahead underneath your payment section, do a single payment to charge them for the payment that was missed, and then you can go back and create a subscription for just to continue where they might have left off, right? So it's important that you go ahead, look at any failed payment, look at the status, go into your authorize.net if you need to, but remember from here, you can come in and you can cancel that subscription. If you need to settle it, you can go ahead and settle the failed payment. So of course the alert goes away. But you should be keeping a track of this part. If you need to archive it, of course, you need to do that. For cards that might need an update, what you need to do is to go into your backend and you can update the card information from here, right? But I need you to make sure that you are keeping a track of it. All of your records, all of your recurring payments you should be able to track your customers. Use your filters. If you need to search by client's name, or if you want to see all of the clients, you should be able to use this option. You should be able to check what subscriptions you have currently, what you might have archived or canceled, or you have just pushed in the archive section. You should be able to track that there in your billing history section. All right, that is important for you to do. Don't forget, settle your transaction, look at the top, follow up with your clients. Once you have settled the bill, do a single payment. So you're going to come into your billing payment history and do a single payment for the payment that you've missed for that time. Then you're going to go back into the payment history, payment section rather, and you're going to go ahead and set up a new subscription for them, right? Their records is still going to be saved into your authorize.net, so their profiles would still be there, but that one that was that had failed would be canceled out because you would have canceled it from the software, but you want to go ahead and create a new subscription for that customer. So it's important that you go ahead and do that so that you are keeping a track of it. Go ahead and set up the reminders on your calendars and your to-do list so that you can keep a track of that. And then the following month, you can continue until you have completed their files. All right. So it's important that you do that. Do I have any questions where that is concerned?
I have a question, Sonia.
Yes, please.
So I'm clear. If the customer originally fills out the contract and the authorization form only for the check payment,
Mhm.
but they later need to add the card, and I could send them the single authorization
For the card,
card.
right?
I can for the future, I can use that same card information.
Yes,
Just
yes.
put it into their
You
file
don't
or
need to
whatever.
put it in because once
Okay.
you put it in, you just go to the billing payments section, because once you send them the authorization form, you're just coming in here to do the single, or you're going to set them up on a recurring, depending on what it
Okay.
is that they're doing. Yeah. So in the event that the check might have bounced and they say, okay, go ahead and use the card, come in here and do the single payment. All right.
Okay.
Right, perfect, perfect. Great question. Yes, so please, if you can, collect both information from the client, right? If you need to send them the single authorization form, go ahead and do that. Probably in the future, you might need to take the payment via one of those options, all right? So it's important that you go ahead and collect that information. If they need to update their card information, you go in there and update it so that it is saved in your systems, all right? All right, that is important. Now, quickly, I'm going to talk about, if I don't have any more questions, we're good? All good? All right, I think we are. Yes, 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 definitely for the replay. Dwayne, make sure you send me your email address. Do I have your email address? All right, yes, yes. Tammy, yes, I will send you the replay. No problem. All right, perfect. All right, so I think we're good. Now, for those of you who are going to offer paper deletion, remember, I know I normally get this, no, we don't want to do paper deletion, but if you're doing paper deletion, you're confident enough to do paper deletion. It's not that you don't have confidence, it's just that you don't have confidence in some of the clients that are coming to you, right? So remember, your pay per deletion is you getting payment when you have gotten a deletion. So it's kind of a little bit of a risk where that is concerned, but it is a good option, because if you have a client that have 50, 70 accounts and you're getting the deletions, that's a good amount, right? So what I want you to do, once you qualify your customers, so if you go in and you look at their credit report, you see their history, it looks okay. They look like they are consistent enough to pay. So you can go ahead and send them their paper deletion contract. You are going to go ahead and make sure that your prices are already set up. What I want you to do when they just come in, you're onboarding them, go ahead and do an estimate for them. So whatever report they have, you can pull it in and you can see, okay, they have 10 charge off, they have 10 collections, whatever it is, you would be able to see that based off of the estimate that you have built, right? So once you have set up your prices, make sure that you go into your pay per deletion section, do an invoice, well, not an invoice, but an estimate for them, so you can go ahead and charge them based off of the deletion that you're estimating that you'll get. And then this is how much they'll charge you once you have gotten their deletions, right? So this is an option for you to look into if you want to. Once you do that, let's say they say, okay, this looks like a good amount that I can pay. Probably they might want to set up some kind of payment plan with you. It's up to you of what you're going to do. But remember, we're not going to charge up front. So we have to be careful where that is concerned. We want to put it in our contract. But let's say they say, okay, I like it. Go ahead and do your thing. You're going to go ahead and send them your pay per deletion contract, and then you start to do your work, right? Once you have gotten deletions, what I want you to do is to also send them an invoice for your pay per deletion or the deletions that you've gotten for them. So in your billing invoicing section, you can come in here, and based off of the deletions that you've gotten, let's say you did all of their updates and tracking and results, and you realize that, okay, I have gotten some deletions here, this is how much they're going to pay me, then you can go ahead underneath here and then send that invoice, right? So this is an option that you can do. You just want to make sure that you are tracking all of the information. If they are credible people that will pay you once the deletions are done, then you can go ahead and take the payments that way, okay? So you have the option to do checks in the software. Some people, they'll do ACH outside, or they'll add their links. Some people, they'll do card. It depends on what you have. You just need to make sure that you are using a method that is comfortable for you and that your customers are able to pay for, and that you're not lowballing yourself where that is concerned, because sometimes they tend to take advantage of the prices that you're offering. Let's say you did do your onboarding and you realize that this client has a lot of accounts. You might need to revise your prices, right? So I want you to make sure that you look at the prices that you have, because sometimes you have clients that's coming in that they have a lot of accounts that you need to work on, and the price that you have quoted to them, it's not really ideal, right? So take all of that into consideration. Look at your payment options that you can use, and then whatever option your clients are able to use, let's say they have card or they have a checkings account, ask them what they have, and then you can go ahead and set them up, right? But remember what I said, have more than one options of taking your payments from your customers, because it might be that for some reason, probably on their end or on your end, you're not able to take the payment with the method that you originally started with, that you have to go to something else. So please make sure that you have the different options in place. If you're going to do it inside of the software, have it set up. If you're going to do it outside of the software, please make sure that you're tracking that and you're organized where your billing is concerned. All right. All right. Awesome. Do I have any questions before I let you guys go? Any questions? All right. Perfect. Perfect. So guys, I am going to wrap up today. If we don't have any more questions, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to send you the replays for all those who requested the replays. Yes, yes, yes. And we will meet tomorrow. Tomorrow is marketing. So please have your questions. And I want you to make sure that you make sure that you have some questions, and you're going to tell me some of the methods that you use when it comes to marketing. Okay, that is important for you to do when we have our meeting for tomorrow, because we're going to have a live discussion. Okay. All right. So that is my email address for you to use. Okay. If you want to send an email. All right, perfect, perfect. All right, guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I do appreciate it. You do have a great evening, and then join me tomorrow. I'll see you. Make sure you have a great day. You take care. Bye-bye. You have a great one. You take care. Bye-bye.